Hello, my friend, and welcome back to part 5 of the 80%. And in this session, we're going to be looking at the fourth component that makes up the 80%. We're looking at systems. And this was the last one for me to start to embrace and to start to, get that extra juice, that extra leverage out of my 80%. And perhaps it's just worth saying here, this is a whirlwind tour you're getting here. And there's no way in a short set of teachings like this I can teach you everything that you need to know for two reasons. One, I don't know it all. I mean, I'm surrounded myself by a team of amazing people who mentor me and train and develop me. And even if I did, we don't have time in a little teaching series like this. But you don't have to know it all at once. The purpose of this series is to develop an awareness. And if you've taken anything that we've shared seriously, that's going to be working in your mind subconsciously. You won't be aware of it until you're aware of it. It will pop up and you'll see something happen in the office next week or something. Oh, okay. They said, but they didn't hear. Oh, that's communication. Right. And that's happening because I thought this design. And so these things will start to kick off. And just this is going to start to give you an edge. It really, really is. What I hope is you're going to embrace a longer and fuller journey where you're going to start to see your effectiveness really start to kick up some gears and you really start to enjoy what this 80% can give you. And so let's look at systems. I am not a systems expert. No company is ever going to employ me and say, hey, Mark, can you come and develop our systems for us? And no, truly, my left brain gets up when it has to. That's not my natural area. People will invite me in to teach on leadership and they will invite me to teach me on communication. And I'm okay at design and I can give you enough on systems to make you aware, and I can give you enough tools so you can kind of start to develop them for your own life. But when it comes to companies, that industry, there are people out there who are really, really good, and you would go to them rather than someone like me. But we're going to see enough now that's going to make a difference. So what is a system? Well, a system is a set of principles or procedures according to which something is done. It's an organized scheme or method. And my conversion happened on systems when Sandra and I, part of what we did was we led some schools. And you can read about this. Actually, I did a short blog on it. It's one of the first or second ones in the blog, and it's called How I Nearly Got Arrested. We had a complaint put us in against us, and we ended up with the police. We had social services. We had the Lado as the liaison. I think, who was the other person? I forget now. But anyway, there's a crowd, and we end up round a table, and something had been levelled against a staff member. And we had this happen twice in our career. And the first one, oh dear, it was a trial. It was a real earthquake, and it was very difficult. And one of the things that made it difficult was whilst we were doing everything correctly, we weren't evidencing the following of systems. And we had a really nice government inspector come out and said, let me tell you why you need to do this. And he showed us how the running of proper systems protected us. He said, if you have a policy for this and you can prove that is what you did, the complaint becomes unfounded. Because he knew we hadn't done anything wrong. There was no criminal action or anything like that. And as it turned out, in the end, we got there and everything was dropped and it was unproven, but it was a painful journey. Couple of years later, an angry, disgruntled person pressed the button, everything swung into action again. Inspector turns up. Well, here's our policies. We stuck by our policies. Oh, let me see your paper trail. Have a paper trail. Oh, thank you very much. End of. Job done. Now, systems are more than just protecting our backside. But for me, that was the wake up call to really look into it and go, wow, this works. Let me just give you another ridiculous example, but actually hugely profound for my life. I mentioned in the last session, I'm cerebrally challenged in my left brain. I'm really well developed in the right, but in one, uh, I took a course and a profile, and my profile says that Mark is not motivated in his left brain unless he's convinced that his left brain actions will support his right brain aspirations. And that sort of that got me really well. Okay, my wife Sandra, she's really hot on the left brain, and she can actually do that for a living. And so the joke is that when we work together on consultancy work, that the people get the whole brain. That when we work together, there's both sides fully firing. Um, but I'm smart enough to work out I need these systems. And one thing really held me back again and again. And I apologize for just how trivial this sounds. I would forever lose my car keys, my wallet, because I would come into the house and I would unconsciously drop them and I couldn't access where I dropped them. And then I started to learn about the subconscious, and I do these exercises. Okay, subconscious, you know where you put them. You remember everything I ever said, did, felt, thought, or saw, or heard. Okay. And sometimes it would work, and up it would come. Oh, I remember now. But I'd still have to stop. And over the years, the loss in time is catastrophic. Think about if it takes you 5 minutes every time it's time for you to leave the house to find your keys. How many trains do you miss? How much stress do you go through? Just how much time do you waste? I'm old enough now. I'm closer to the grave than I am the cradle. It doesn't matter how well it goes for me in life. I've got to make 110 to be in the middle of my life. People politely call me middle-aged, but you know, that's not true unless I'm going to live till I'm 110. I don't have that kind of time to waste. So what did I do? I brought in a system. If you walk into my office is in my home, you will see on one of the shelves there is a square little saucer tray thing. I think it was given to us as a present and I liberated it. And when I walk in the house, I can't say every time, but over 90% of the time, I come in the door, I go through to the office, I don't take off my shoes, I don't take off my coat. I have a system that is burnt in, I drop them in there. I cannot tell you how much time that saves me. And I say all that to bring you onto the area of scalability. What is that doing? It's upscaling my time. I now have more time. But a system is also transferable. You can transfer a system that you went through all the pain of learning, and you can just give that as a whole to someone else. And now they know what to do. They can do what you were doing. It's powerful stuff. It really, really is. If you go to from me and my keys to McDonald's, what is it that makes McDonald's so successful? Is it their amazing food? Not so much. It's the consistency of their food. It's the consistency of what they deliver. It's their ability to take a 16-year-old who can't get out of bed and within a few weeks have them handling food hygiene and money. How do they do that? They have incredibly transferable systems. That's how they do it. We can take those principles and apply them to our lives. They allow us to transfer. They allow us to operate things we don't fully understand. They allow us actually to cut problems off before they happen, before they become an issue. Every time a pilot gets to an airplane, I like using airplanes as analogies if you hadn't noticed. What do they have? They have a massive checklist that they go through. There's all these systems in place. Why? To stop the thing falling out the sky. And there are systems that we can bring into our careers and into our businesses that stop us falling out the sky. The time to repair the airplane is not when you're hurtling towards the ground. We want systems in place to make sure we stay ahead of the game, that we are on the front end of whatever it is we're doing. That won't happen by accident. It has to be done intentionally, and it's done using systems. So what's not working for you right now? What is there that keeps happening again and again and again? You know, if you're going, you know what, I have faced this every Monday morning for the last 20 years. That's your bad. I love you. I'm not against you. I'm your friend. I'm here to help. But you could do something to change that. Yeah, but such and such. Trust me, you could improve it. What could you bring into play that is going to make that difference? And that's why we study systems. That's why we look at this whole 80%. So there you have it. You've got these 4 major components that make up the 80%. And what we'll do in the next session, we're going to bring these things together, and I'm going to show you how you can start to get more and more of that, so your effectiveness is going to go higher and higher and higher, so you get the maximum out of whatever it is you want to do. Thanks so much for your time. I'll see you in the next session. Bye for now.